Welcome back to our channel. Gina Lollobrigida's life was a whirlwind of triumphs and betrayals, with men who admired and exploited her, culminating in a shocking betrayal by her own son. Her story is a Hollywood drama filled with legendary lovers, endless legal battles, feuds with magnates, political aspirations, younger companions, and so much more. Born Luigia Lollobrigida on July 4, 1927 in Subiaco, Gina entered the world under a midwife's prophecy. This one will be heard of. Little did anyone know just how true those words would become. Some even described her as a woman who made Marilyn Monroe seem like Shirley Temple, a testament to her charisma and allure. As a young girl, Gina would sneak into theaters, captivated by the magic of film. She watched scenes unfold from behind the curtains, enamored by the romantic and dramatic moments on screen. Her passion led her to convince a projectionist to give her copies of the most mesmerizing scenes. This fascination with cinema set her on the path to stardom. Gina's talent and ambition eventually earned her a singing scholarship to a prestigious performing arts school. However, her time there was anything but ordinary. Her beauty proved to be both her blessing and curse. At just 19, Gina's stunning looks captured the hearts of not one but 6 of her teachers. While their infatuation made her unforgettable, it also complicated her journey. She quickly learned that her beauty could attract people, but it also made them unwilling to let her go, turning admiration into obsession. In 1947, Gina met Milko Scofi, a dashing doctor 7 years her senior. Their whirlwind romance led to marriage just 2 years later. At the time, Gina was a struggling actress, while Milko was a rising star in the medical field. Despite their contrasting worlds, they were deeply in love, but neither of them could foresee the trials and temptations that lay ahead. By the late 1940s, Gina's acting career had become a source of frustration. She grew tired of being seen only for her beauty and longed to prove she had more to offer. Her stunning appearance, which opened many doors, also became her greatest challenge. Even her husband Milko doubted her potential, discouraging her from pursuing acting altogether. In 1960, Gina Lollobrigida made a bold move, relocating from her home country of Italy to Toronto, Canada, alongside her husband, Milko Scofic, and their son. The family's decision to move wasn't driven by career ambitions, but by a deeply personal reason. They were determined to resolve a complex legal issue. Their son had been caught in bureaucratic red tape in Italy, officially classified as stateless, and they hoped the move would secure his legal status. The odds seemed stacked against her, but Gina refused to give up. She knew her talent only needed the right opportunity to shine. When Hollywood finally came calling, it seemed as though fate was ready to turn in her favor. When Gina received a message from the legendary Hollywood tycoon, Howard Hughes, it seemed like the opportunity of a lifetime. Hughes, who had come across a photograph of Gina in a bikini, was completely captivated by her beauty. At the time, Gina was 23 years old, while Hughes was 44. The influential movie mogul extended an enticing offer, a screen test in Hollywood. Gina accepted on one condition. Her husband Milko would also receive a ticket to join her. Hughes agreed, but something about the arrangement seemed too good to be true. Could she really trust a man as notorious as Howard Hughes? When the travel arrangements were finalized, Gina discovered that Hughes had only provided a single ticket instead of the promised 2. She suddenly faced a difficult decision. Hughes had the power to catapult her to international stardom, but the cost of such an opportunity loomed ominously. While Gina desperately needed a breakout role, she couldn't ignore the undertones of Hughes's intentions. Her husband Milko encouraged her to take the trip, expressing his trust in her and their marriage. Despite the uncertainty, Gina decided to take the leap, driven by ambition and the hope of advancing her career. Upon landing in Los Angeles, Gina was met with luxury and control in equal measure. Hughes's agents whisked her away to an opulent hotel suite where guards were stationed outside her room, not for her protection, but to ensure she didn't leave without Hughes's permission. To make matters worse, Hughes cut off her access to the outside world, even barring her from making phone calls. As it turned out, the promised screen test didn't exist. Hughes wasn't interested in nurturing Gina's career unless she was willing to pay a steep personal price. Hughes met with Gina daily, but it quickly became clear that his intentions were anything but professional. His relentless propositions were met with firm rejections, not just out of loyalty to her husband, but also because Gina felt an unbridgeable chasm between them. She viewed his wealth and power as suffocating, stating that she might consider his advances if he relinquished his vast fortune, a challenge Hughes had no intention of accepting. Finally, fed up with Hughes's behavior, Gina demanded to return home. He reluctantly agreed, but not before orchestrating one final scheme. On the eve of her departure, Hughes hosted a lavish farewell party. During the event, he ensured Gina had more than her fair share of drinks, leaving her tipsy and vulnerable. In this state, Hughes presented her with a contract assuring her it was nothing more than a routine formality. Trusting his word, Gina signed the document. She didn't realize the contract would haunt her career. Hughes cleverly bound her professionally, ensuring that even if he couldn't possess Gina, he could still control her career. It was a chilling revelation that Gina would later come to regret deeply. For years, she felt she couldn't collaborate with anyone but him in America. Unsurprisingly, other American studios were hesitant to defy Howard Hughes, leaving her American career stagnant and in limbo for nearly a decade. Tragically, the story of a powerful man exploiting a younger, beautiful woman is an age-old one. But what Hughes didn't anticipate was that he had met his match. Gina came up with a clever plan to break free from Hughes's grip. She found a loophole. He couldn't stop her from acting in American productions filmed outside the U.S. With determination, she pushed forward, and her persistence paid off. In 1953, Gina finally had her breakthrough moment with Fan Fan La Tulipe, a film that earned a BAFTA nomination for her performance and catapulted her to international acclaim. Once her momentum began, there was no stopping her. That same year, she starred in John Huston's Beat the Devil alongside Humphrey Bogart and Jennifer Jones. With these triumphs, Gina proved she didn't need to succumb to Hughes or any unscrupulous advances to achieve stardom. She could carve her own path, and she did so spectacularly. Gina Lollobrigida wasn't just an actress. She was a one-woman powerhouse. She acted as her own agent, publicist, makeup artist, and even photo editor. The only support she had was from her doctor-turned-manager husband, who lacked the industry connections of most Hollywood managers. Gina always believed she was exceptional, and now she was proving it to everyone. However, her growing success came with a price. Her self-confidence began to edge into ego, a side of her personality that became evident when she agreed to star in the Italian film The Lady Without Camellias. She was likely thrilled to take on the project, but little did she know what awaited her. The satirical plot revolved around a talentless shopgirl who rises to stardom solely because of her appearance. This premise infuriated Gina, as she had battled for years against the stereotype that she was just eye candy. Feeling disrespected, Gina asked the producers to revise the script to reflect her dignity and talent, but they refused. Left with no other option, she made a bold move. She walked away from the film. What followed was a storm of controversy. The producers filed a lawsuit against her, demanding 20 million lire for breach of contract. Gina, however, was not one to back down. She countersued, claiming the film was an insult, not just to her, but to the Italian film industry as a whole. To her relief, both the public and the court sided with her. Gina felt vindicated when The Lady Without Camellias became both a financial and critical disaster. It was a significant win for her, but it wouldn't be the last time she used her unyielding determination to achieve victory. In 1956, Gina took on another challenge, this time facing Howard Hughes directly. She made her American debut with the film Trapeze, defying Hughes's long-standing control over her career. By releasing the film through a different studio, Gina effectively rejected his claims that his influence was critical to her success. With this bold move, she declared her independence, proving she could star in any American film on her own terms. Though she had endured many battles, Trapeze marked a triumphant victory. The film was a major success, cementing Gina's status as a true international star. She was one of the rare women who managed to triumph over the advances of a powerful man like Howard Hughes. Sadly, he was not the only suitor who overstepped boundaries in his pursuit of Gina. Prince Rainier III of Monaco, for instance, pursued her relentlessly for years, showing a similar lack of restraint. The situation reached a chilling climax when the prince, shockingly, propositioned her in the presence of his wife, Grace Kelly, at their own home. Despite the awkwardness of the moment, Gina refused his advances, out of respect not only for Kelly, but also for herself. In stark contrast to these unsettling encounters, Gina was discovering just how extraordinary her own marriage was. While the love lives of Hollywood stars were often more scandalous than their films, Gina's marriage stood out for all the right reasons. Despite being surrounded by wealthy, famous, and powerful admirers, she remained steadfastly faithful to her husband. Gina consistently rejected advances from countless suitors, refusing to indulge in Hollywood's penchant for drama, real or fabricated. Her marriage was a surprising example of stability in an industry notorious for its volatile relationships. Gina's charm and beauty naturally drew comparisons to another Italian icon, Sophia Loren. With both actresses celebrated for their stunning looks and captivating screen presence, the media was quick to pit them against each other. Tabloids eagerly stirred the pot, posing inflammatory questions and manufacturing a rivalry between the two women. However, reality didn't align with the rumors. While Gina and Sophia were undoubtedly aware of the press's attempts to spark conflict, they didn't engage in the drama. Instead, both stars cleverly subverted expectations, each in her own way. Gina, in particular, turned the relentless attention of journalists into an opportunity to demonstrate her wit and maintain her dignity. Gina had a clever tactic for avoiding uncomfortable questions from the press. She pretended not to understand English whenever asked something provocative. While she and Sophia Loren had no personal rivalry, Gina did endure a particularly mortifying moment with another Hollywood icon. During a reception hosted by the Kremlin to honor the industry's elite, Gina spent hours meticulously perfecting her appearance. She wore a stunning white lace dress, her hair styled in an elegant updo, confident she would stand out. But to her horror, she discovered another guest had chosen the exact same dress and hairstyle, none other than Elizabeth Taylor. The awkward incident quickly became global headline news, leaving Gina deeply embarrassed. Determined to never experience such a mishap again, she began investing more of her wealth in exclusive couture designs to ensure her outfits would remain one of a kind. Yet this wasn't the only unpleasant encounter Gina had with fellow stars. During the filming of Woman of Straw, her co-star Sean Connery, who was still relatively unknown at the time, found the atmosphere on set tense. Gina, the undeniable star of the production, reportedly exuded an air of superiority. According to Connery, his dislike for her grew so intense that he vowed never to work with her again. Gina, on the other hand, had no hard feelings, later stating that she would gladly accept any role alongside Connery, even without reading the script. Despite these occasional clashes, Gina stood out as a singular force in Hollywood. Known in Italy as Gina Nazionale, or the Pride of Italy, she embodied the spirit of her homeland. To many, she wasn't just an actress, she was Italy itself. As a result, she often represented her country when hosting foreign dignitaries, a role few Hollywood stars could claim. While many actresses achieved wealth and fame in old Hollywood, Gina's unique position as a cultural ambassador set her apart, cementing her legacy as a true icon. Gina Lollobrigida proved time and again that she was far more than just a beautiful face. Her achievements spoke for themselves. On the surface, her life appeared perfect. A thriving career, a seemingly loving marriage, a son she adored, and all the beauty, wealth, and fame anyone could dream of. But as is often the case, perfection was merely an illusion. Fans and colleagues alike were shocked when the darker realities of her life began to surface. Over the years, Gina and her husband Milko had grown distant. Their marriage, once filled with love and passion, had devolved into a partnership that existed only in name. Surprisingly, infidelity wasn't the issue. Instead, their hectic schedules and vastly different lifestyles gradually eroded their connection. By the time Italy legalized divorce in 1971, the couple was emotionally separated, waiting for the law to catch up with their reality. They became one of the first couples in the nation to formally end their marriage, marking the conclusion of a long chapter in Gina's personal life. Unfortunately, Gina's career seemed to falter alongside the dissolution of her marriage. While many stars struggle to cope as their fame wanes, Gina refused to cling to the past. Instead, she reinvented herself, finding a new passion and a second calling as a photojournalist. And this wasn't just a vanity project, she excelled at it. Her undeniable star power and vast connections opened doors to opportunities that few could dream of. She captured striking images of icons like Paul Newman and Salvador Dali, earning accolades for her work. However, Gina truly shocked the world when she landed an assignment that no one could have anticipated. In 1975, she secured an exclusive interview with Fidel Castro, the elusive Cuban leader whose reputation was more infamous than all of Hollywood combined. It was a coup that catapulted Gina's photojournalism career to new heights, leaving even seasoned journalists envious of her access and influence. She wrote, directed, and produced a documentary showcasing her collaboration with him. But once again, she found herself the target of salacious gossip. People speculated about how she had secured such a prestigious opportunity and questioned what really went on during her time in Cuba. The rumors were anything but kind, suggesting ulterior motives for her involvement. Though Gina's beauty brought her many admirers, it also brought endless scrutiny. Despite her fame and talent, love often eluded her. Reflecting on her struggles, she once said, "My experience has been that when I find the right person, he runs away from me. Important men, they want to be the star, not live in my shadow." Amid the glitz and glamour of her career, Gina Lollobrigida once found herself entangled in a scandal not involving lovers or lawsuits, but art theft. Known for her fiery independence and wit, Gina allegedly commissioned an extravagant portrait of herself from a reclusive artist in Tuscany. This painting, described as a masterpiece of sensuality and power, became a focal point of her private villa. It symbolized Gina's belief that her legacy would live on as more than just an actress. One fateful evening, Gina hosted a lavish party at her villa for Hollywood elites, European aristocrats, and renowned artists. Among the guests was a charming but mysterious art dealer named Francois Leclerc. Francois was captivated not just by Gina's beauty but also by the painting. Over the course of the evening, he flattered Gina endlessly, promising to showcase her portrait in a prestigious Parisian gallery. Despite her initial hesitation, Gina's pride won out, and she agreed to loan the painting on the condition that it would be returned within a month. But weeks turned into months, and the painting was nowhere to be found. Francois disappeared, leaving Gina enraged. The situation quickly spiraled into an international scandal, with Gina accusing Francois of orchestrating an elaborate theft. Gina launched her own investigation, leveraging her connections in the art and political worlds. Rumors swirled that she even used her charm to persuade high-ranking officials to aid in the search. Eventually, she tracked Francois to a hidden gallery in Monte Carlo, where the painting was displayed as part of a private collection. When confronted, Francois smugly claimed ownership, arguing that Gina had gifted him the artwork during their soiree. But Gina, never one to back down, demanded a duel, not with swords or pistols, but with wit and influence. She rallied public opinion, using the media to tarnish Francois' reputation and reveal his deceptive schemes. The climax came during an exclusive auction Francois planned to sell the portrait. Gina made a dramatic entrance, accompanied by influential figures who vouched for her ownership of the painting. She publicly confronted Francois, stating, "This isn't just a painting, it's my soul, my story, my legacy, and no one steals Gina Lollobrigida's legacy." The audience erupted in applause, and under immense pressure, Francois relinquished the painting. Gina returned it to her villa, where it remained until her final days. This event became legendary, cementing her reputation as a woman who would fight tooth and nail to protect what was hers, whether it was her career, her independence, or her art. Yet in October 2006, Gina shocked the world by announcing her engagement to Javier Rigaud y Rafols, a man 34 years her junior. But that wasn't the most surprising part of the story. The couple had reportedly first met at a party in Monaco in 1984, and according to Gina, had been secretly together for over 2 decades. However, just 2 months after their engagement was made public, their May-December romance unraveled spectacularly. Gina called off the engagement, expressing her devastation to the media. Javier is desperate. Ever since we announced this wedding, he has been tormented with lies and slander. He can't take it anymore. But the truth was even stranger than fiction. The claim that Gina and Javier had been together since 1984 was fabricated. In reality, their relationship had only lasted 2 years. They had concocted the story of a decades-long romance, hoping it would make their engagement seem more credible. Years later, in 2013, Gina stumbled upon a revelation more shocking and surreal than anything from her Hollywood career. What she discovered that year would forever change her perception of love, trust, and the people closest to her. Gina was taken aback when she stumbled across marriage certificates that listed her and her ex, Javier Rigaud y Rafols, as a married couple. According to the documents, their marriage had taken place in 2010. Determined to uncover what she assumed was a mistake, Gina began investigating, only to discover something far more shocking. Rigaud had orchestrated their marriage without her physical presence, using a stand-in bride and claiming she had agreed to the union by proxy. Rigaud insisted that Gina had signed the necessary paperwork to avoid media attention. But Gina vehemently denied this, accusing him of tricking her into a fraudulent marriage. She launched a legal battle, asserting that the entire arrangement had been done behind her back. The case revealed startling details about their relationship. Gina claimed that While traveling together, they never even shared the same room, let alone the same bed. Rigau, of course, denied her allegations. The legal fight escalated into a chaotic saga. In 2017, Spanish courts initially ruled their proxy marriage legitimate, but after several appeals, Rigau was eventually charged with forgery. Despite this ordeal, Gina wasn't deterred from letting people into her life. Enter Andrea Piazzolla, her new assistant and perhaps the most significant figure in her later years. Andrea, just 27 years old compared to Gina's 88, quickly became a source of speculation. Was he merely an employee or something more? Gossip swirled as Gina lavished Piazzolla with extravagant gifts, including 3 luxury properties and a Ferrari. Although Gina adamantly described him as a surrogate son, her generosity raised eyebrows, particularly with her biological son, Milko Skofic Jr., who wasn't pleased with Piazzolla's growing influence. By March 2015, Milko took action, petitioning Italian courts to assign a legal guardian to oversee Gina's finances and business affairs. He argued that his only aim was to protect her from exploitation by people like Piazzolla. Gina, however, saw his intervention as a betrayal driven by greed, and she didn't hide her anger. Their already strained relationship became even more fractured as years of tension between mother and son boiled to the surface. The relationship between Gina Lollobrigida and her son Milko had turned into an embittered public conflict, culminating in a deeply personal and painful betrayal. Gina wanted nothing to do with her son's relentless attempts to control her wealth, making it clear she would not back down. Their feud escalated into a fierce legal battle, with Gina insisting she was fully capable of managing her affairs, and the courts agreed. Though she emerged victorious, no legal win could erase the sting of betrayal from her only child. Milko, however, was not ready to admit defeat. Years later, in October 2021, he reignited their feud by requesting that the courts block Gina's access to her accounts and restrict her ability to give away her money as she pleased. His argument was that her spending needed to be limited to essential expenses. This bitter legal fight left Gina devastated but defiant as she refused to give in to his accusations. While Gina continued to insist on her mental competency, the Supreme Court of Italy ultimately ruled against her, appointing a legal guardian to oversee her finances. It was a heartbreaking decision for a woman who had spent her life defying the odds and maintaining her independence. But her advanced age and considerable wealth made her a target, even from within her own family. Gina Lollobrigida's passing in 2023 marked the end of an era, a poignant conclusion to a life that defied the odds and captured the imagination of millions. At the age of 95, Gina left this world as one of the last surviving icons of Hollywood's golden age, a woman whose presence on screen and off cemented her status as a timeless symbol of resilience, beauty, and talent. Her final years were a mix of quiet reflection and fiery determination. Even as age began to take its toll, Gina remained fiercely independent, a trait that had defined her throughout her life. She continued to engage with fans, often appearing in public with the same charisma that had once made her a global sensation. Her defiance of time, refusing to fade into obscurity as many of her contemporaries had, became a testament to her indomitable spirit. The circumstances surrounding her death were as poignant as her life was dramatic. In the months leading up to her passing, Gina faced a series of health challenges that she confronted with her characteristic strength. Reports suggest that she spent her final days surrounded by those she trusted most, holding on to the unwavering determination that had carried her through decades of triumphs and betrayals. Even in her last moments, Gina's legendary presence was felt by all who had the privilege of knowing her. For fans and admirers, Gina's death was more than the loss of a beloved actress. It was the closing of a chapter in cinematic history. Her funeral, held in Rome, became a tribute to her unparalleled legacy. Crowds gathered outside the historic church where the service was held, clutching black and white photographs of a young Gina in her prime. Flowers from fans around the world adorned the streets, each bouquet a token of gratitude for the joy and inspiration she had given through her artistry. The Italian government also paid homage, with cultural leaders calling her La Diva Eterna, the eternal star. However, her passing was not without its controversies. Whispers of legal disputes over her estate began to surface almost immediately, highlighting the unresolved tensions with her son and other figures who had been part of her tumultuous later years. The legal battles, though tragic, were emblematic of Gina's life, a life where triumph and turmoil were deeply intertwined. Despite the ongoing disputes, her will reportedly included significant donations to art and cultural preservation, ensuring that her influence would live on not only in film, but also in the broader cultural landscape. Gina's death sparked an outpouring of tributes from the entertainment industry, with actors, directors, and fans sharing heartfelt messages. Sophia Loren, her longtime counterpart and fellow Italian icon, released a rare public statement calling Gina a light that will never dim. Modern stars like Penelope Cruz and Monica Bellucci credited her for paving the way for Italian actresses in Hollywood, while younger generations discovered her through viral clips of her most iconic roles. In a way, Gina's passing was the final scene in a cinematic masterpiece that spanned nearly a century. Gina Lollobrigida's extraordinary career was decorated with numerous prestigious awards and honors, cementing her status as a true icon. She earned 3 David di Donatello Awards, 2 Nastro d'Argento Awards, and an impressive 6 Bambi Awards. Additionally, she received 3 Golden Globe nominations and won one in 1961 for World Film Favorite, Female. Her talent also earned her a BAFTA nomination, showcasing her global acclaim. In 1985, Gina's contributions extended beyond the silver screen. Jacques Lang, the French Minister of Culture, honored her by nominating her as an officer of the Order of Arts and Letters, recognizing her achievements in photography and sculpture. Shortly after, François Mitterrand, the President of France, awarded her the prestigious Légion d'honneur. Gina's legacy also included her commitment to humanitarian causes. On October 16, 1999, she was named a Goodwill Ambassador for the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, further highlighting her dedication to making a difference beyond the arts. Her accomplishments were immortalized on February 1, 2018, when she was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, an enduring tribute to her unparalleled contributions to film and culture. Her story is one of ambition, resilience, and unapologetic individuality, a legacy that will inspire future generations of dreamers, creators, and those who dare to stand out. While her physical presence may be gone, Gina Lollobrigida remains eternal, living on in the hearts of all who were touched by her brilliance. If you've enjoyed this story or others like it, don't forget to show your support by subscribing and hitting the like button. Stay tuned for more informative and exciting stories just like this one.